That is completely uncovered. So there's no insurance coverage for replacing the tree that falls or removing the tree that falls. This product would cover both of those things. It covers the replacement of it and the debris removal cost. So really, if you're an association, especially a sizable one, I mean, you could be seven figures of loss here. I mean, talk about millions of dollars in debris removal loss.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Policy Party. I'm Negar Sharifi, joined by my partner, Phil Masi. Today's show, we've got amazing, exciting news for you. We don't get to share this type of news on a regular basis, and it has to do with a product that Phil has been trying for years to get a carrier to write. And right now, I'm going to have him share what this new product is and a little about it. Phil?
Yeah, perfect. So when you say trying for years, you're not underselling that.
No,
I mean,
I know.
this has been a 20-year endeavor ever since I saw what this product and the need for it is in the marketplace. So right now, there are no insurance carriers, agents, products at all in the state of Florida that offer any type of landscaping or debris removal coverage for landscaping. So we all know the biggest uncovered risk for any association, especially HOAs and condos with spread of trees and all kinds of stuff in their on their property. Hurricane comes through, named storm comes through, even just bad tornadoes, whatever it might be. You get a ton of just random landscaping damage. So trees down, bushes ripped up. The cost of removing and the cost of replacing that stuff is tremendous. So we saw this, in Irma, obviously was a big one, in Ian and Milton. I mean, just go through the list of the storms that have hit, and Charlie from years back in Central Florida, Wilma. I mean, so much landscaping and debris removal costs, and that debris sits and you got to try to get a deal through FEMA, and there's no insurance coverage for that stuff. And we've known that it's an uncovered risk for a long time, and we've been trying to get something to cover that, but it's very difficult. For the first time ever, starting January 1st of 2026, we will have a product that we can sell that will cover this landscaping and the debris removal for our community associations. And so right now there's going to be three options of sizes. You can buy 100,000, 250,000, or 500,000. So some of the associations that are bigger are going to definitely want a bigger
great
one.
for our larger HOAs or our condo associations that spend a great deal of money on landscaping. That's usually like their second most expensive line item cost, aside from insurance.
Yeah.
So walk me through this. So let me talk to you after Irma. I received personally hundreds of calls with associations that were calling me with, we have damage. And typically when I asked them, what is the damage? They all said, I have trees down. People can't drive onto the property. I need to file a claim.
Yep.
So typically that's excluded under a property policy. So are you saying this new landscaping product, as they buy $100,000 limit, what would the deductible be on something like that? And then two, what does it cover as far as landscaping? Does it cover the cost to come and chop that tree down and remove it, and the cost to replace that tree?
Yeah. So right now, if a tree falls on your property, unless it falls on some sort of covered property, so on a building or on a fence that you're insuring, or
Carport.
a wall, carport, something like that, it's covered for the removal of it. It's not covered for the replacement of that tree, but they'll at least get rid of the tree because it's landing and sitting on your property. So any debris that is on your buildings, you can, whatever the cost is to remove that stuff, you can put that in as far with your wind claim or whatever the process is. But the actual tree itself wouldn't be covered. And then what really happens is there's trees down all over the roads, common areas, things like that. That is completely uncovered. So there's no insurance coverage for replacing the tree that falls or removing the tree that falls. This product would cover both of those things. It covers the replacement of it and the debris removal cost. The deductible is going to be 10% of the limit you buy. So if you buy $100,000, it's a $10,000 deductible, and then you have $100,000 in coverage. But what most people have to understand is you're going to have a lot more than that in coverage, or in loss. So really, if you're an association, especially a sizable one, I mean, you could be seven figures of loss here. I mean, talk about millions of dollars in debris removal loss. Some of the smaller associations, easily can get to six figures, depending on the scenario. So we really don't have an option that'll cover everything that possibly could happen. So 500,000 is the max we have right now. but that will cover a lot of associations, and that's $500,000 more than you'd get otherwise. You'd just be basically passing an assessment to try to recoup those funds. And it's a significant expenditure. And remember, the cost of removing that debris and everything at that point is usually higher because all these companies that are doing it, they're getting a surge in demand, and so it becomes a meaningful line item.
Excellent. So is there going to be like a cap placed per tree, or is it just the $100,000 limit?
No, the way we designed the program is actually pretty unique, is that it's as simple as you can possibly make it from an adjusting perspective. So you have a pot of money, and then you're basically going to have this loss, and then the adjusting of that loss should be pretty easy. So you're going to go ahead and put a list together of the cost of replacing anything that was damaged. You're likely going to have a bill from whatever landscaping company you use to remove this stuff, and then they'll give you an invoice for what the cost is to replace the damaged items. And that's really all we need. We're going to need the bill you had to pay for removal and the bill for the replacement of the items, and that's really it. And then it's going to pay out based on what that ends up being. So there's not a lot of restrictions to the product. Again, it's wind loss to landscaping. Now there is, like, it doesn't cover golf courses and stuff, and there's some things like that. But for general things for community associations, it's covering most bases, and I've made it as easy as possible for underwriting and for claims handling.
Okay, so this is fantastic. One thing I do want you to address, though, is can you describe how this coverage is different than how the standard property policy does provide some coverage for trees and landscaping? I would like for those listening to understand the difference, because some people might be thinking, oh, I already have coverage for that in my policy. My agent told me I already have coverage for it.
So this is a good point. So you will see landscaping sublimits on your current property policy. And so some people will think, oh, we already have this coverage. And technically you do have a small sublimit. It's like 10 grand or 20 grand, but it does not apply to wind.
That's right.
So it's only a stated perils. And a lot of times it's going to be fire and then minimal other stuff. So if your building burns down, any landscaping that burns up in that fire, you have like a $10,000 coverage for, or a small sublimit on the for the shrubs and plants and stuff.
But even still on that, they limit it even further. And they'll say the max per tree is like $500
or $250
or $250.
Yeah,
Yes.
but the point being is that it doesn't cover wind. Wind is the main exposure where you're going to get a really bad loss. Because how bad's a fire going to be that burns up, your landscaping in one building, right? It's the widespread wind loss that we're looking to worry about. And I will go back in time. There was a product through a carrier. I'll leave their name out, but like 10 or so, 12 years ago, they're now gone. But they did provide a wind sublimit for debris removal. It was a surplus lines market, and it was something that was big in South Florida and on the coast, and people would try to buy that. And even then it was like a $50,000 sublimit. It wasn't a huge number. These numbers that we got now are multiples of what that was. So if people like that product, and they wanted that product, it was a big selling point. This product is that on steroids.
Well, I can say I've been listening to Phil try to get a carrier somewhere to write this product for us for a better part of 20 years. And I myself am pretty excited to be able to sell it.
And we did this ourselves.
Is
our product.
Yes.
So we didn't have to go through, we did this directly with the London market. So it is not something that we're dependent on.
And just in case anyone's wondering, is it available from any other agency?
Not even agency, just any other agents. You're looking at the two.
You're looking at the two that can sell it. So if you're a large HOA that spends a great deal of money on your landscaping, or a condo or townhome community with beautiful landscaping, you're definitely going to want to give us a call, because this exciting product for wind damage to landscaping launches in January.
Oh, and remember, it doesn't have to be, you think about your high rises, right? So your high rise risk, the stuff in Miami that's sitting there, even though it's not on a large acreage, there's still big time bucks in the landscaping of those buildings. So, again, doesn't really even matter the scope. Obviously some places are bigger than others with more landscaping, but even those high rises, very high end stuff.
I just spent several $1,000s at my house.
That's what I thought you were going to say, your house, but
on podocarpus hedges.
Yeah, everything's super expensive, so there's no different there.
People, $6,000 on podocarpus hedges at my house, replacing them. So yeah. Can I buy this product?
To round your helipad?
Just right. But thank you. This is exciting news. And be on the lookout for that in January. I'm Negar Sharifi. This is Phil Masi. Thank you for joining us for Policy Party.